right, welcome back to the show, Carson's Corner, your unofficial Maple Leafs post-game breakdown. Leafs lose 4-2 to Washington tonight. Overall, I thought it was a better game. It's one of those games where the Leafs play well, but they don't get the puck luck they need. A couple defensive breakdowns here and there lead to them, not getting the win. But I was happy with their game though. They looked a little more jumpy tonight. They had a little more will to win, I would say. Unfortunately it doesn't go their way, but they just looked like they were actually kind of finding the open ice and getting some passes through, and their whole, defensive breakout. Everything looked a little more together tonight. Everyone was kind of on the same page, which is something we haven't seen in a long time for this team. I feel like they kind of hit rock bottom the other game, and with the last game being a win, you're thinking, okay, like we can kind of step out of this, building blocks. And I think it still is that, just looking at how they played tonight. But I think that it's not going to be a linear upwards, trajectory of them digging themselves out of this hole. I think there's going to be some ups and downs, but I think that they're going to get to a place where they can kind of just, symbiotically get together and actually start winning hockey games regularly, because it seems to be, multiple losses, one win, multiple losses, and it's just there's nothing really, continuously going here, which is tough. And I think that that's coming to an end. It's still somewhat, early in the season, but it's getting less and less. So it's something they have to figure out rather quickly, in my opinion. Coming into the game tonight, I was looking at, can the Leafs actually limit the shots on goal tonight? The last couple games, and even for most of the season that we've seen, it always seems to be 30 plus shots on goal every single game. And that was the story of tonight too. 34-18 final shots, Capitals. It's like you just can't rely on your goaltender to always bail you out. I think Wall played great tonight, made a lot of fantastic stops, but again, like you just can't leave your goalie out there. And I don't think they hung him out to dry per se, but there was a lot of times that there were some glaring opportunities that they needed to shut down. That they're not getting the man spacing that they need to like actually get the coverage, right? Which is it's tough to see. Domi healthy scratch tonight, which I think was interesting. I personally would have done this a game earlier. He was on the top line last game and now he's scratched. So I'm not sure if they just didn't like what they saw last game, but it was surprising to me, to be honest with you, because Domi's out, Robertson's in, and I think the consensus from a lot of Leaf fans here is that Domi's a better player, especially on the top line, which I've said before too. And it looked good. I liked how they played last game. So to take Domi out as a healthy scratch and put in Robertson, that to me it's kind of an odd play. Honestly, I don't know why they would do that. Maybe it's just to get a different look, who knows? It could be all for all kinds of reasons, but I was surprised with that tonight. I thought Robertson actually had some good touches, a couple good chances. He wasn't the typical Robertson, scratch and score that we've seen sometimes, but I was happy. I think I still would have preferred Max Domi in this game. He's a little scrappier, a little more, you know, energetic, I would say, I guess, but I can't complain about the switch. And also, Nylander due to illness, which was kind of surprising. I mean, he sounded slightly sick last game, I guess, but this is a game when they definitely could have used Willie Styles there. Couple. I mean, like the Leafs had their offensive chances, but not like that extra player, that extra set of hands there would have really made a difference tonight. So I think it's not on Willie for this game, but I think that you could really see the difference when he's out. Unfortunately, first period, it's always what I say. Every single show now, it seems to be like a recurring theme, is Leafs don't start on time. 20 seconds into this game, they're seemingly down 1-0. Now, yes, it gets called back, but you just can't let that happen though. It's frustrating to see. It's like, man, why is your defensive coverage so poor in the first several seconds of this game that you're already going down 1-0? and you get a lucky break that gets it gets called back, but it's just like every game you're just fighting it. It's like, are you guys here to show up? Or are you just, waiting to respond to what the other team does? Because that's like a Maple Leaf signature, just waiting to respond for the other team. Like it's just, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that, honestly. Morgan Riley scores, luckily, on kind of a weird play. Goaltender misreads it, open net, basically. Morgan Riley gets a goal. Good for him. Hopefully, confidence booster. Leafs are actually, take the first goal in a game for once because they're always playing from behind, which is nice to see. But overall, honestly, like besides the first few minutes there, I feel like the Maple Leafs carried the play for most of the game. Like not even in that first period, but most of the game, I felt like they came out and they actually carried the pace of play, which was nice to see. As I said, I feel like they were a little bit hungrier this game, but no, I honestly I think they played more as a unit. I've been talking about individual efforts, whereas it looked like they were actually playing for each other in this game, which was, I would say unusual, to be honest with you. Second period, Riley gets a penalty. That's another thing too. The penalty kill for this team is one of the bright spots. They have not had a lot of goals scored on them when they're shorthanded, which is nice. So this team gets into penalty trouble seemingly a lot. So tonight, a couple of penalties here and there, but they kill them off. It's nice to see that. So I feel like, of all the areas that they could improve, this is the one that I'm actually happy with. I do feel confident when they go down a man and get a penalty. So, hopefully they can take that and build it out to the rest of their game. It's not going to happen, but I hope they can. And yeah, Matthews. So after that penalty, Matthews and Knies go down the ice, little 2-on-1 action there. Ovechkin takes an insane run at Matthews for some reason, which nobody really seemed to talk about on the broadcast. Like, if Ovechkin makes that hit, that's a potential injury plaguing play for Matthews there, which I thought was kind of odd for Ovi. Like, he doesn't, like, he's a physical guy, but he doesn't usually, take like charges at guys like that. Luckily, Matthews sees it coming, dips it, passes it out to Knies. Beautiful tape-to-tape pass. Knies gets it in. 2-0 Maple Leafs at that point, which was nice. And then, of course, in true Leafs fashion, Leafs get hemmed in. McMichael scores 2-1. That was about the 7-minute mark there left in the period. And then in the third period, Ovechkin gets a pass over to Bolivier, making it 2-2. And at this point, you can just feel the momentum of the game swinging. That, and I know that the Leafs aren't winning this game. They still had a lot of fight left in them. They looked pretty good, but at this point, you just know they're not coming back. Washington was very patient in this game. They took their time. They played the long game essentially, and it was just a matter of time until they took it over, and they did, right. Another defensive breakdown leads to Jacob Chitrin scoring 3-2. And it's kind of just, it's not worse from there, but last couple of minutes there, Leafs have a chance to tie it up. Knies has a beautiful chance in the slot. And, you could say he shot it in the glove. Goaltender was also there in the right place, right time. But if you're ever going to have a chance at actually tying it up and getting, the tying goal there that you actually need, you got to just, you got to shoot it low or something. Like, I don't know. But the goalie actually, like, having the opposite hands for the catcher and blocker there, it's tough because a lot of typical shots there. Even Tavares, too, in that breakaway, tries to go left side high, but it's a glove save, so it's tough, right? But anyway, good chance by Knies. And it's just not enough at that point. Unfortunately, Tom Wilson throws one in there, makes it 4-2. So yeah, another loss by the Leafs. But it's one that I'm not gonna say you can hang your hat on, but it's one where you go, okay, look, they looked better. They looked like a team who wanted to come out, who wanted to play, who tried. And they seemed, even in the post game, interviews, they looked like they were actually sad about losing this game, because I think that they know that they played well, and I think we all saw that too. Again, it's frustrating to not get that game, but they're back in action, tomorrow, Pittsburgh. That's going to be, a tough game too. Pittsburgh has played pretty well. the Leafs seem to do okay against them, but it's still, whenever you're facing Crosby, it's always something to pay attention to, right? So that's going to be a fun one to see. Hockey night in Canada, can't miss it, and that's pretty much it. So I don't know. Personally, I hope Nylander comes back tomorrow. With it being a back to back, I doubt that he will. I would like to see Domi in for that game too. He's a little scrappier, and that's kind of what you need. I mean, honestly, I don't know why you can't really have Domi and Robertson in at the same time. Why not? You're trying out new looks. You're switching the lineup every game or a couple games here. So why not? Why not try it out? Take out Joshua or Nick Mann, who seems to be a ghost of himself now. Like try something else, right? But I don't know. It's still kind of a mess with this team right now. Happy with the effort, but it still looks pretty grim. So I don't know what to say about that, but I don't know. I'm wearing the Christmas hat today too because you know what? I got like a foot of snow at my house today. It feels like it's the Christmas season, and you know what? It's also pretty warm too and comfortable. So we're doing an early Christmas special, I guess, is what we'll call it here. But as always, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it if you're watching. Go Leafs, go, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Cheers.